Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and I know I'm late on this, but in this video today, I'm going to be giving my own personal 2021 Tampa Bay Buccaneers regular season record predictions. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and leave your Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2021 record predictions down in the comment section down below, and let me know why you think the Buccaneers will have the record that you have them getting. Again, in the comments section below, I'd love to read it and see what you guys think the Bucs' final record is going to be. But I know I'm very late on this. I debated heavily as to whether or not I was going to do this, but I decided to make this video, and this is going to be an interesting year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've now had a full offseason together after the illness caused a lot of confusion last year. Chemistry building, especially along the offensive side of the football, I think is going to do wonders for this team and potentially put them in an even higher place than where they were last year. Now, obviously, they won a Super Bowl, but I mean in terms of chemistry and being more efficient, they could potentially do even better there. So let's wait and see if that happens. But let's get started here with week number 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys, and I will have a preview video of this coming out tomorrow, but I will say here, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win this game, and I like what the Dallas Cowboys have as a team. They are healthier along the offensive side of the football. There are going to be some players out due to certain circumstances and whatnot, and this could very well be a high-scoring game for the Bucs versus the Cowboys, but I just think that that defense isn't ready. I think that the Buccaneers offense is going to be a little bit better than the Cowboys offense in terms of efficiency and production, and while I think it will be a close game and potentially a high-scoring game as well, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do come out on top. Moving on to week number 2 versus the Atlanta Falcons, September 19th, I give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet another win here. The Atlanta Falcons right now, to put it simply, are kind of teetering on this line, right? They don't know if they're retooling or going into a rebuild, and I feel like on both sides of the football, while they have some intriguing pieces, certainly some leaders along both sides of the football, Matt Ryan is still there, and he is always going to be a dangerous quarterback. I think they're almost kind of in a limbo right now. They could be a playoff team, or they could just have a losing record this year. There's really going to be no in-between, and nobody's going to know what happens until it happens for the Atlanta Falcons. So I think, in all that confusion as to what's going on with the team, the Buccaneers will be able to take advantage, get a win here, and make themselves 2-0 going into week 3 versus the Los Angeles Rams, where I'm going to give the Bucs their first loss of the year. And the Rams, point blank, they're one of the top teams in the entire NFC, along with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They traded so many things for Matthew Stafford, and I think it's going to open up the playbook, add another dynamic, just intrigue to this Rams offense, and I really do think you could see the Rams offense return to form with Sean McVay at the helm. That same Rams team that went to the Super Bowl, we could see basically another edition of that, so to speak. So while I think it'll be a very close game where two, Super Bowl caliber teams are just colliding with one another, I think the Rams will just barely get the better of the Buccaneers in this game. And that's just the way I see it right now. But moving on to week number 4 versus the New England Patriots, October 3rd, Tom Brady returns home. And I'm going to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a win on this one. Mac Jones is the starting quarterback. Cam Newton is gone. Where is he going to go? I have no idea. But, man, this is going to be, in my opinion, the most watched game of the entire year. Not just for everybody in the Buccaneers fan base, but probably just all around the NFL as well. I think Tom Brady does get the win. He is going to be stupidly motivated to defeat his old team, which would give him, being one of the only players in NFL history to defeat all 32 teams in the league. That's not an easy feat, by the way. He's going to beat his old coach, Bill Belichick. He's going to beat a New England Patriots team that is definitely still up there in playoff contention, but there could definitely be some growing pains with Mac Jones depending on what goes on there, and I think the Buccaneers do edge out the Patriots here in week number 4. Now, Moving on to week number 5, October 10th versus the Miami Dolphins. What's going to go on here? The Miami Dolphins are a playoff caliber team in my opinion. People forget that they won 10 games last year and didn't make the playoffs just due to horrible luck in my opinion. So they are a good team, but much like in the case of Mac Jones with the New England Patriots, Tua he's still got some growing pains, I think, going on. They signed Jacoby Brissett. I'm not going to say that they're going to bench Tua, nor should they, in my opinion. I think they should ride that out and see what the young rookie can provide for them. But I do think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just edge out the Miami Dolphins here in a good game between two playoff teams, making the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4-1. Week number 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go and play the Philadelphia Eagles away on October 14th. I will give the Buccaneers a win here. It is a short week between Miami and the Eagles game, but I still think the Buccaneers can come away with a victory. They've got a lot of questions going on with Jalen Hurts. They've got so many guys who are getting older at so many different positions and kind of breaking down in a handful of ways, especially along some pieces of that offensive and defensive line. So, will the Eagles hold this year? Who knows? I mean, there's just a lot of question marks going on right now regarding aging veterans. Jalen Hurts, I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, but is he ready? Who knows? It's a first-time head coach situation going on over there in Philadelphia. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get the win here. Moving on to week number 7 versus the Chicago Bears, I again give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a win here. I think they get revenge from last season's debacle with Tom Brady. I believe that was the game where he held up the 4 and was like, oh man, what down is it? And everybody made fun of him for it. Tom remembers that, and Tom's going to want to get his revenge. And this is where I think that happens. I think, Tom Brady and the Bucs are at home. Maybe Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback for the Bears at that point. Maybe it'll still be Andy Dalton. I think both those guys are good quarterbacks. And the Bears have always got a very dangerous defense, point blank, especially with Khalil Mack there. You can never count them out of a game. But I think that, the confusion with the quarterback position could add some complications to how the Bears are going to do this year. And while they still have a very, very solid defense, like I've talked about, the building of chemistry, all the playmakers the Buccaneers have on offense, I just think the Buccaneers are the overall better team, and I do think they will get a win here versus Chicago. Now we move on to week number 8 versus the New Orleans Saints on October 31st. It is going to be an away game, and I give the Saints the win here. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will lose this game. Jameis Winston revenge game. He is probably still going to be the starting quarterback at this point for the Saints. I would see no reason as to why that shouldn't be the case. They've got Marquez Callaway at wide receiver. They've got Michael Thomas. They've still got some good pieces along the defensive side of the football. They did lose some pieces as well, but they still were able to maintain probably one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in football. And they have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas returning from injury, like I said. And, it would just make sense, right, for the Buccaneers to split with the Saints. Sean Payton is as crafty as he will ever be, and I can see him doing a lot of cute, wink kind of plays where he's getting cute with Taysom Hill and Jameis and whatever else they want to do, and it might just be a little bit too much for the Bucs to handle the first time around, so I will give the Saints the win here, pushing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be 6-2. After that, you have the bye week in week number 9. I think they'll do pretty good in that week. And then you move on to week number 10, November 14th, the day before my birthday, versus the Washington football team. And fun fact, this will actually be the same day where the Cannon Fire podcast will be hosting their Cannon Fire watch party, which I will be a guest at. Go check that out on their YouTube channel if you have not yet. And I'll give the Buccaneers a win here. I think they'll rebound from the loss with the Saints, especially after the bye week at that, where they'll have some time to rest, recharge, and be ready to go, versus Ryan Fitzpatrick and Ron Rivera at head coach. They've added some pieces along that offensive side of the football. Terry McLaurin's there. Logan Thomas is still there. They added Curtis Samuel. Antonio Gibson's expected to have a breakout year. They've still got all of their guys on defense, so I think that the Washington football team is a playoff caliber team. But I think with the bye week, the Buccaneers coming off of it, they're going to be recharged. They're going to be ready to go. They're probably still going to be a little annoyed about that loss to New Orleans Saints, and I think they will get a win here versus Fitz and the Washington football team. Then you move on to Week 11 versus the New York Giants. I'm going to give them a win again here, purely because I feel that Tom Brady is just still not over the fact of the 2 Super Bowl losses he has had to the New York Giants. I think he will hold an eternal grudge against that football team and make it his life's goal to beat them at every opportunity. It is going to be a home game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I do think will help. Daniel Jones, it's a big question mark as to what's going on with him as a quarterback. Saquon Barkley's returning from injury. That should help out their offense. But on defense, they've moved around a handful of guys. And I still think they have a good defense at certain points, but the secondary is a little shaky. The linebacker core is still a little shaky, in my opinion. The D-line's really good, but then you've got some question marks along the defensive side of the football there, and a little bit on offense as well with Daniel Jones, some of the playmakers that aren't named Saquon Barkley, and along that offensive line as well. So all of that combined with Tom Brady's just eternal fire to defeat the New York Giants, I think gets the Buccaneers the win there. Then you move on to week number 12 versus the Indianapolis Colts, November 28th. I will give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yet another win here. Carson Wentz, what's going to be going on with him at that point? Will he be hurt? Will they have to play Brett Hundley? Well, he's not even on the team right now. Will they have to play a guy like Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger? I don't know. The defense is still good, but the offense is aging a little bit. They've dealt with so many injuries along both sides of the football, the Colts have, for a handful of years now. It's really been a darn shame for them because I think Chris Ballard has been an excellent GM at drafting talent. They just can't stay healthy. So I think that will continue this season as nagging injuries pile up for the Colts. And I think the Buccaneers take advantage of that. Even if they do have some injuries of their own at that point, knock on wood, it would be a very big test of depth. But I still think the Buccaneers could get a win there from the Colts in week number 12. Then you go to week number 13 versus the Atlanta Falcons, December 5th. We're on kind of the home stretch here of games for the Buccaneers. I do give the Bucs another win here, sweeping the Falcons. Will it happen? Will it not happen? You know, again, I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But again, kind of like what the similar points I said earlier involving the Falcons, I think that especially at that point in the year, you know, if the Atlanta Falcons aren't doing the best, if they're somewhere in the middle of the pack, they might trade a high-caliber player or two and maybe just go into full rebuild mode at that point. I don't know. So, depending on what the circumstances are going to be surrounding the Falcons at that point, they could be in full rebuilding mode. They could be looking at some of the younger guys that they have for the future of this team. And, we'll see what happens. If they do have a winning record and they are in a pretty good position, I still think it'll be a high-scoring game and a very close game, but I would still give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the win here. Week number 14, December 12th versus the Buffalo Bills. I give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a loss here. They had 4 wins in a row, all against some pretty decent opponents in my opinion. The Buffalo Bills, they are a very, very strong team. I think they are a top 3 team in the AFC with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, or even the Cleveland Browns if you want to throw them in there. I'd probably honestly put the Bills at number 2. I mean, they really are going to be a Super Bowl contender this year. I think Josh Allen's a great quarterback. He's got some really good weapons around him. The defense is still very good as well. I've just been so impressed with what the Bills organization has done as a whole to build up that roster around their young quarterback. And again, much like I've said with teams like the Rams and then other good teams that the Buccaneers have faced in the past, this is just going to be 2 really good teams going head-to-head with each other. I think the Bills just barely get by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that could be a Super Bowl preview right there. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But regardless, I think that'll be a great game, but I do give the Buccaneers a loss there. Then moving on to week number 15, you have the Saints at home, December 19th. This is where I think the Buccaneers get their revenge. I think that they will have seen a good amount of the tricks that Sean Payton will have pulled at that point in terms of getting cute with play calling and Taysom Hill stuff and all these other different types of things. I think the Buccaneers do get their revenge there on Jameis Winston and the Saints, splitting the 2 games with them there. Week number 16 versus the Carolina Panthers, December 26th. I have the Buccaneers getting the win. I'm just not the biggest, Sam Darnold reclamation project type guy. I just don't, and it's not to say that I don't think Sam Darnold could succeed in the NFL. I think he can. I just don't know if it's going to be with the Carolina Panthers. I'm not too incredibly high on Matt Rule as a head coach in the league. He reminds me a little bit of Chip Kelly, not a ton, and not in like every single way possible, just a couple of things that remind me of like Chip Kelly when he came to the NFL. And, Chip Kelly, he had some good initial success, but then it just did not go well after that. Matt Rule hasn't really had a chance to have good success right now, but I also could see the Panthers flounder a little bit this season. They're still trying to figure out some things on defense. They're still trying to figure out some things on offense. Yes, Christian McCaffrey is back. Yes, Robbie Anderson just got a contract extension. Yes, DJ Moore is there. But I feel like there's just too many question marks along both sides of the football right now for them to really be considered a, playoff contender in earnest, in their fullest. Maybe they could sneak in as a wild card, but I've also seen a lot of people say, like, they might finish last in the NFC South, them and the Falcons competing for that. So we'll see, who knows, but regardless, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will get the win here versus the Carolina Panthers. Week 17, they go up against the New York Jets on January 2nd. I again give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a win here. The Jets, they've got some young, intriguing pieces. I especially like Zach Wilson at the quarterback position, but they're very much still figuring things out. They are still in a rebuild mode, and, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be able to capitalize and get a win there. And then finally, the final game of the year, Week 18, January 9th, versus the Carolina Panthers at home. I give them a win. Again, much like what I said in the last game versus the Panthers, they have some intriguing pieces on both sides of the football, some really good guys for their future. I just think there's too many questions. Even at the head coaching position, I think that there's some questions about, how Matt Rule does as a head coach, and I just don't know how the Panthers are going to do this year. So I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys, with a 14-3 record after week number 18. Will that be enough for them to be the first seed? That's a very strong possibility. If they had a 14-3 record, for them to get a bye week. As I said, they lost to the Rams, they lost to the Saints, and they lost to the Bills. I think the Rams and Bills are, just playoff/Super Bowl caliber teams that will just be really good games that the Buccaneers might just barely lose. And then in the case of the Saints, I had the Bucs splitting with the Saints because Sean Payton, again, he gets cute with the play calling, he gets cute with Taysom Hill type stuff. He's got a ton of tricks up his sleeve, and we've seen in the past that it's been tough for the Buccaneers to handle at times, and I think they will split with them. But I do have them sweeping the Falcons and the Panthers here. Nothing against either one of those teams, mind you. It's just, I feel like the Buccaneers are the more complete team right now, while the Falcons and Panthers are still trying to figure out some things. And that's just the way I see it. So 14-3, guys. What do you think about this record prediction? Do you think I'm spot on? Do you think I gave them too many losses? Do you think I gave them too many wins? Do you think the teams that I gave the Buccaneers losses to were fair? Do you think they were unfair? Just give me your thoughts about this entire situation down in the comments section below. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts as well as your record predictions for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into the 2021 season. It's exciting time, guys, and I'm happy that you're all here along for the ride. It's gonna be an awesome time. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, guys, I will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs!